What's up, everybody? It's your favorite son of anarchy's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the Unrustable Bastards. I think they changed the name, pardon the language, but I don't know, the unrustable child born out of wedlock, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. No disrespect to the people born out of wedlock. I didn't come up with the name, and if your dad sucks, I feel for you. My mom sucks, so it's all good. Matter of fact, get your dad a piece of pizza for Father's Day. It must be challenging to avoid that responsibility all year. But anyway, let's take a look at this guy. He comes with a ton of accessories. I'm pretty excited to talk about a lot of it. For those that don't know, this was a Kickstarter. The people involved with making this have been involved in some of your favorite third-party toys. They came up with this concept that has, I think, comic book fiction to go along with it, etc., etc. They just kind of wanted to branch out and do something official in its own right, I suppose. Moss Toys, who I did the box art for, the only box art I've done, as a reminder, was involved with the production of it. So there's a lot of fingers in this pie. And there's actually a lot of fingers in regard to how it got to me. So, Pinkerton of Enter the Realm, I'm a Collector's Cool Table Network show, backed the Kickstarter, but is kind of getting out of Transformers. So he sold it to Extra Zero, member of Breaking the Mold, part of the Cool Table Network. And between the two of them, they hooked it up so that it would hit my table before it made its final destination. So thank you to both of those gentlemen. Let's take a look at these accessories. He comes with these two pistols. Decent enough sculpts, gray plastic, black plastic, and the handle does move and collapse. The small guns will peg into the hand so they can be held securely. You can use this part of the gun to clip onto these C-clips here. That's a really tight fit, but you can use those there. Two shotgun-esque weapons. I like when futuristic kind of space weapons end up remotely looking close to real-world weapons. Something about that does it for me. So, shotgun type of weapon, black plastic here, gray plastic. Once again, decent enough sculpt, and once again, the handle collapses. Shotguns work the same way by pegging into the hand. You can do the same thing with these guns. He comes with two sort of miniature pistols, and they can peg into the side of the bike. And the rider can hold the small pistol just fine. He comes with a chain sword, you might say, or a chain gun, depending on how you want to look at it. Two handles that are adjustable. This can clip in the same way that the other two do. And then a silver painted chainsaw. Well, the chain and the bar all painted silver, which, if it were up to me, the bar would be painted different than the chain. But it's fine, ultimately, just saying. The hands also have a peg at the lower end, so that you can manipulate the chain sword, so that he can hold that one upside down or right side up. One alternate head for the rider, decent enough sculpt. He's kind of chewing on a cigar. Red painted eyes. They are, the paint on the red does go outside of the lines a fair bit. And then silver finish for the face. I'm sure the paint there would be individual results will vary, but I just have to mention it. And then we have three alternate faces. One kind of, I could be a motorcycle for a Cobra team face. One, I got a face, and then one, is that a scar or tears of the horror I've seen face. All done the same way, silver paint, green eyes, except for obviously for this one, which is just the green with the black outline. All the paint on these is done extremely sharp. And two swap out optional pieces, gray plastic with the black vents painted. And these are the pieces that you would swap out for the vent look on the chest. And, you know, I think these are, if I had this, I would go with these, honestly. And lastly, arguably the coolest accessory. Now, I may be partial, but it has the Unrustable, and then down there, and then the skull, which is done really well, and the kind of, you know, the logo, you know, for a little biker patch, which is cool. It's thoughtful. It's something different, but it's unique, and it makes sense for the kind of, you know, genre that they're going for. So we're going to talk about the bike before we talk about the rider. I think design-wise, it's really cool. It rolls like a champ. It stays balanced, so that's nice. I don't have any real complaints there. Nice tampo paint for the symbol, the logo there on the front. These things that clip the weapons on are on ball pegs, and then obviously the C-clips, so you can have them out to the side, and then you can angle them down and around town. So whatever you want to do there ends up looking good. No issues. Silver paint on the wheels. Orange, that's probably plastic. And then this is the wheels themselves are plastic. I guess this, you know, there's all sorts of little kind of things you can do with little tidbits and stuff on ball pegs to kind of angle. You know, a lot of it is for transformation as well and design of the robot, but it still doesn't mean that you can't angle it a certain way to kind of make the aesthetic pull through. Silver paint here for the mirrors, and then we have all this stuff down in there that's all done cool for the little console. And then another skull face popping through. So nothing wrong with that either. And yeah, no real issues. Now, you'll notice this peg. Let's talk about the rider. Cool enough little fella. He's got a head on a ball peg, silver paint on the face, and then red paint on the eyes. The red paint here is done much better. The ball peg gets you a fair amount of range, down to there, up to there, you know, confused dog look, swivel, etc. So no issues. You have ball pegs coming out to a hinge for the arm, which gets you using the hinge up to there and around, and a reverse butterfly joint, so that all works well. This additional shoulder piece, I think, swivels. I could be wrong about that. Yeah, it does. So you can adjust that appropriately to get the articulation. So nothing wrong there. Pretty well done. Bicep swivel, tons of sculpted detail, not a lot of paint. Double jointed elbow gets you the full range. Same for the other side. Waist swivel and ab crunch, so that's cool. Hips on T-jointed ball pegs, so that works well. Thigh swivel at an extra cut, so no problems there. Single hinge knee that gets you the full range. Ankles, ball pegs get you an ankle tilt up, ankle tilt down, and a rocker. So no real issue. Not a lot of paint, but articulation works like a champ across the board. Now, there's the hole in his back for that peg. Utilizing that, you can get him seated very securely on the bike itself. You can have one hand hold the handlebar, and you got, or both hands if you'd like, and you got yourself a rider. Transformation wise, you have to unlock the arms from the bike and kind of get them out of the way. This is on a ball peg, so you can move this all the way around. Same here. And just free up all this stuff the best you can. Release the front windshield so that you have these pieces free, which are obviously the legs. This swivels around to the other side, and this piece swings to the outside of the thigh. Very MMC style, wouldn't you say? You might think they had something to do with some of those designs. Same on this side and around to this side. And that is the legs. Take this piece, you have to spin the handlebars. Hopefully you can ride your bike with none. Around, and then spin this piece around, and then you need to spin the part where the arms are connected and that's a little tricky, but there, so that you have this piece which ends up being the abdomen, and then this piece all to the back. For the arms, move the hand to the inside, swivel the black foot plate around to the back, this part around to the front, and then flip the hand back. Same for the other side, hand to the inside, foot plate around to the back, this part to the top, hand back. Now let's transform the rider. Head back, arms back, bend at the double jointed elbow to get the hands up, and then rotate at the waist 180. For the legs, these are double jointed. I think I said they were single jointed. They're double jointed, but this joint is just super tight. So you want to have it so that this peg slides into that slot there. And same on this side. And then collapse at the ab crunch to peg in these two pegs into the rider's chest. And then the feet rotate to the rear. And unfortunately, the arms just kind of sit there. I wish they pegged in some kind of way, but it doesn't appear that they do. Now you want to make sure you have all this stuff kind of up. You got a peg, a peg, a peg. And you got a hole, a hole, a hole. So we're going to slide this in the best we can and get it all stuck in. There, there. I would advise doing those first and then the back plate last. And then this comes up and locks in to the feet. And then the last step you want to do is make sure that this piece goes in between the windshield and all of this. And there's a peg here that goes into the top of the ball peg where the head is for the rider. And you want to hope that everything stays connected, which it did. Flip this up, flip the head around, and maybe this actually sits back down. Yeah. I'll get him cleaned up and we'll take a look at him. So let's talk about him. The Skullface, I love it. Obviously, I am kind of worried about my rights a little bit. Call Robert D.
Calling Robert D.
Law office?
Yes. Is this Robert?
Bobby, is this you?
It is. Look, have you seen this unrustable figure?
Unrustable bastard, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, look, I don't know if you've seen the face, but it's got a skull face. And I was thinking they're probably making some money now that their GoFundMe has been successful. We get a lawsuit going, and we could sue them with the...
Bobby,
Yeah.
you're talking about the face, right?
Yeah.
You can't copyright a skull.
Right, but it's a skull on a face.
Bobby,
So-
Bobby, you can't copyright a face.
But I was thinking that...
Dude, why don't you leave the thinking to me? Is there anything else? Have you been in an accident?
But in all seriousness, it looks great. The head is on a ball peg. So it's fairly limited down, but you do get it. Good bit up, swivel side to side. I think it's a breakup. It's black paint on orange plastic, and then the skull face is tampoed on. It looks nice. Pretty well done. The back here, you can have these articulated kind of any way you want. They all swivel around, so you can kind of have them up to the top or down below, so to speak, whatever you think looks best. I think maybe down below. It's a little intense. The shoulders are on ball pegs, which is not ideal, but given the engineering, I'm relatively okay with it. You can get this up out of the way to kind of give you the full shoulder out to the side, which is fine, and then swivel around. The ball peg, unfortunately, doesn't give you a hole. Well, I guess here it does inside the chest, so that's cool. That'll work. It basically works as a butterfly. It's just not as pretty, but that'll work. I'm okay with that. No issues. Orange paint there. Orange paint there. We got a bicep swivel, a little tight. Orange paint on translucent plastic and black paint for the canisters here. Double jointed elbow, get you the full range. Wrist, ball peg, so they hinge in, out. They hinge a little bit up, down, so no issues there. And then they swivel. And actually there's an additional hinge from here to here for an additional hinge up, so that's even better. The hands are pretty much perfectly articulated. I'll give them that. Thumb is on a base pen knuckle and then an additional knuckle hinge. Same for these fingers as well. So I'm good with that. Really well done in that regard. Let's continue. Waist swivel, no ab crunch obviously, but waist swivel, that's fine. And then we have the same articulation on the other side. For the hips, we have universals. Friction universals get you out to there. Pretty close to the full Van Damme and the full Monty. So well done there. Black paint on the thighs, thigh swivel. Single hinge knee, and look, they continued the sculpt. I like stuff like that. Just makes it feel a little bit more full. It does break eventually. That's at the full bend, but to get the 90 degrees, you'll pretty much be able to keep the fluidity of sculpt. So I'm good with that. And then all the detailings in the tire shows up nicely in the lower leg. And then for the feet, they're on ball pegs. So you get ankle tilt down, ankle tilt up, and then a good bit of rocker. This does get in the way, unfortunately. But all in all, not bad. Pretty good from the back too. A little kind of airy up in the middle. But see, like that's something I would peg a transformer, you know what I mean? Like I would pin it. I would pin that as an issue. But because of the kind of aesthetic of the world that these guys are from, it doesn't feel bad. It's not bad at all. And I guess you can get an additional ankle tilt here and here on this swivel, so that works as well. But it's actually, it's pretty well done. It's pretty cool. Let's talk about, you know, aesthetics. I feel like the hands are a little long proportionately, and that's, you know, it could go very well go with the character. That's cool. I'm just saying that maybe the character, for my specific taste, could have been a bit shorter. But I mean, it's a real nitpicky kind of thing, especially given what this is, which is an original design. So yeah, I'm okay with it. And I think with the swap out plates there, it'll even look more interesting in robot mode. But I don't have any real issue with that. Size comparison wise, there he is with a Masterpiece Junkion. I heard some people saying maybe this would fit with like a kind of a random Junkion that you know was kind of off screen the whole time. And size wise, it definitely works. Aesthetics, that's kind of up to you. I'm not sure that it works for me. They're all made out of junk, right? So I guess anything could be possible. And there he is next to a reformatted figure. Final thoughts wise, objectively, I think a heel spur fold out on the foot would have been nice. And, you know, some nicer hardware for the joints. But that's really it. Subjectively, I feel like the proportions feel a little weird in the arms. It's a real small deal. As you can see, once you have them posed, you won't notice it at all. Normally, something with this many ball pegs for engineering would bother me. But because it turns into a motorcycle, I'm fairly lenient. And for my personal taste, you know, it's just an awful lot of orange plastic, which I think with a lot more paint detailings would have made it really pop. But that's definitely a personal taste of mine. Positives wise though, there's a lot to talk about. The articulation is awesome pretty much across the board, even to the point of redundancy, but that gives you a lot more options, so I'm 100% okay with that. But I mean, if you think about it, there's redundant joints in the wrists, redundant joints in the ankles, but all of that helps you to kind of make the figure a lot more fluid when you're going to pose it. It's like you don't get jammed up, which is a nice touch. The paint that is applied extremely well, and there's a few variations in it. We got metallic paints, we have tampo paints, and we have regular kind of flat paints. Tons of playability. It has an action figure element that's really top shelf, not unlike when MMC gets the figure right with their reformatted line. The transformation is easy, fun, and intuitive. The materials of the plastics feel fine, on par once again with reformatted, cleans up fairly well, and has a pretty interesting and strong presence. So it's definitely a recommend from me if you're interested in the aesthetic, the fiction, cool transforming figures, or skull-faced motorcycle guys. If you're not into the fiction or have no connection to it, I'm not sure that it'll be as rewarding unless you just like cool transforming robots, which this ultimately is. So it is a recommend for me. Pretty cool figure. Bravo to them. I know it's a real passion project for them, and it obviously comes across in numerous ways with this effort. So I wish them the very best. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.